Hey everybody, so glad that you're here. Welcome back. Before we get started with our video that we're going to talk about today, thank you so much for taking time to watch what we have going on in our small little suburban garden. We don't have a great big backyard, but we do a lot back here and in the front with what space we have. And so we're so thankful that you're here to watch because we just love growing for fun. We're not professionals, but we do love growing, and we've been doing it a while, and we just love sharing that with you guys. So it took us about 2 weeks to put these together with school and work and all of that going on. But yeah, we took the time to put them together and take our time because we really didn't know too much of what we were doing, but we got them done. And as you can tell, we have that 2 level right there, top and bottom, and we're excited about that. So what we used for our wood was pine. Now, I know that is kind of not the best wood to use in the garden just because pine is softer and it tends to rot a lot faster. But we did treat this wood with a sealant that hopefully will help it last a little bit longer. Typically, they recommend when you build raised beds to use either cedar or redwood, and that's fine. But you know, we were on a budget, and so once we got into this, we were like, we're just gonna go with this and we're gonna treat it and see if we can get some life out of it for maybe, 4 or 5 years. We'll see what happens. Not too sure, but I think it's gonna be great. And if anything, it's a huge upgrade over what we had before. So that's that side, which is the larger of the two. And then we have this middle section with our lime tree planted in the middle and a walkway. And then plenty of room on both sides so that we can easily reach across these raised beds and get to what we need to get to so that we don't have to be reaching across this whole area. We can just get to the back by walking down the side, which hopefully that will be very handy. And then we have this side, which is almost identical, except it doesn't have the longer side, but it does have the shorter raised bed in the front and the taller raised bed in the back. And that raised bed is 4x4, and the one in the front comes out about 2 feet from the tall raised bed, 2 feet, and in both directions. And then it goes all the way around the side there before it ends, I should say, before the flower bed that we put in the beginning of last year. So yeah, 2 raised beds. And yeah, it was a great process. We're going to show you what that process looks like in just a second, but I do want to talk about what we used as materials first. Okay, so the beds, sealing the beds, we used this, which is great, which is Extreme Garden Box plant-based sealant. And so we took this through. Ben actually did that after we cut the wood, pieced them all together. We went ahead and sealed it with this product, which was great. And I think after letting it sit for like 3 or 4 days to really seal, I think it's going to be great and it's going to work well. So that's what we used. And this link I will put down in the description where we found that. We found it on Amazon, and I think they also carry it on Gardener Supply, but I'm not sure about that, but for sure Amazon. So this is what we found for the beds to seal them. And then after we put the the dirt into the raised beds, we used Garden Tone from Espoma, which all of Espoma's fertilizers are organic, and they are great for various types of plants, for citrus, for roses, for wooded plants like holly and hydrangeas, for the garden like this. They have a formula specific that you can use. I also include this in the description below, but this is what we use. They also have Plant Tone, which is kind of an all-purpose fertilizer. That's great as well. I use a lot of that. So anyways, we fortified these beds with this, even though the planter mix or the soil mix or the raised beds mix says that you don't have to add it. We added it because we want them to have plenty of nutrients that they're going to need to grow. So we use that as well. So anyways, what we have in this bed behind me is a bunch of purple onions and regular brown onions. Ben went in there a couple days afterwards and planted this box up. Down here in this box, we have radish in the front, and in the corners, he also, for color, wanted to put some short daffodils and a couple hyacinth bulbs in there as well to make it kind of nice for spring. So in this bed right here, we have green beans, and we're thinking they're going to germinate rather quickly. So hopefully we'll have an update video soon that will show you those growing. And then also down here in the front, we have planted various types of lettuce. because we're always having salad around here. But yeah, they're all planted up already. We were really excited to do it. And we have some other things that we're planning on doing later, like putting some tomatoes in the back of the 2 top tiers on the back, and then the shorter harvest down in front. So we'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at how we put these together. And we are definitely not pros by any means. We just had an idea. We saw the space, we measured it out, of course, first, and just, built it out of our own ideas. But there's plenty of videos online that will help you to, build raised beds or get ideas for raised beds. We just took the simple approach. I didn't get fancy with the special cuts. I just cut straight cuts for most of them and then drilled them in together with drills that are meant for outdoor use that hopefully won't disintegrate too soon. But I did cut a couple special cuts in the corners. But other than that, we just took the straight edge approach and then pieced them together. Pretty simple. And that's basically it. So let's take a look at how we put these together. All right, we got our wood from Lowe's. We're starting with our 10x2s, and we also got 6x2s for the front of the raised beds. The back of the raised beds will be the taller pieces of wood, so we'll have some variation in levels there. But yeah, we got our wood. Obviously barely fit in our Atlas, but we got it, so let's go home. So that was the measuring and cutting process. And now what we're doing here is we've screwed in the smaller or the lower level of the raised beds. And Ben's going ahead and using that stain that we were talking about earlier, just rubbing that nicely in, keeping it elevated off the cement so that we don't mess up the cement. And he's going ahead and doing that really thoroughly on both sides. We've sped it up here, but he's kind of taking his time. And then we let that cure for 3 days before we screw it into the other structure. So lots of cure time, lots of time to make sure that it's, sealed correctly. And hopefully this is going to help the wood last much, much longer. Because, after all, we're doing the hard work. Even though we use the cheaper, more expensive wood, it's much better to do it like this. So that's it. That's the new raised beds. And it was so much fun to put these together. A lot of work, but a lot of fun. And it's for sure an upgrade to our outdoor space. And we're looking forward to a lot of great new crops through this season and next. Thanks for watching.